What's up, family? It's Tim here. So, tonight, excuse me, I know I promised that my next video is probably going to be the ridiculously, okay, it's big, but it's not ridiculously big. Depends on the angle you look at it. Was going to be my record fair haul with my special guest. And I realized I'd been putting this video off for a few days. And I want to get it done before I forget and get into a very hectic October. A lot of things going on in October. I have a 5-year-old, so trick-or-treating is a must. He wants to go as Owen from Jurassic World, so I'm considering trying to go find a dinosaur costume for me, which would make sense. Pumpkins, and my anniversary's this month, and just there's a lot of stuff going on. So I want to get this out of the way. And this is for a channel that needs no introduction. Good night. Of course, I'm talking about Steve Carlson. Steve is just an amazing newer channel. I think he started coming around right around the time I did, and does a lot of great videos. He posts a lot of stuff. His work allows him to travel, so he's able to hit all different kinds of record stores, probably to the detriment of his wallet and his wife's sanity. But we get to see some cool stuff. So Steve is looking for 5 records, and he's called this "Don't Worry, Be Happy." And it's 5 records that make you happy. Well, we're all music collectors. 500, 5,000. I mean, it's just all relative. So I kept pulling and putting away and pulling and putting away, and I got a stack over here that I pulled and I'm gonna put away because I've decided to show different things. So I've got 5. And obviously it's not the be all end all, but these I think have some interesting stories. A couple of these I've shown, so you got to bear with them again. So let's start, and if you know my channel and you know me, you can probably already guess at least the artist of number 1. Technically that's the album cover because it's a top to bottom gatefold. I'm not going to pull it out. We've seen it before. You know this album. I know this album. I know this album very well because this is my favorite album of all time. Nothing in my eyes will dethrone it. It is the cream of the crop. It is the top of the pyramid. Everything else is, to quote Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you last. So obviously, if it's my favorite album, it's going to make me happy. And it does. There's some emotional stuff on here for me, but still, this album makes me happy. Beginning to end, front to back, I love it. There's nothing else I need to say about it. This is just my favorite album. So, it makes me happy. Jimi Hendrix and the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Axis Bold as Love. So the next one, I could have showed him Future Shock, but I really wanted the impact of Herbie Hancock Rocket. Why does this make me happy? Well, think back to the 80s. It wasn't the weird video. It was weird. It was off-putting. It was weird. A lot of stuff going on. And it was weird. But for me, it was the song. So here you have a very renowned jazz musician in Herbie Hancock. And in the 80s, he embraced a lot of different things. So this song actually came out in 1983. It was at the top of the charts. But it had something different. It had this noise, which we later found out was called scratching. It sounded like taking your fingernail across the guitar strings. So Grand Mixer DST was featured on the turntables, and it was one of our first looks as turntables used as an instrument. Turntable is something you put the record on and you play. How is it an instrument? Well, because they said so. Quick story. The inventing of scratching came from a DJ whose name was Grand Wizard Theodore. Grand Wizard Theodore was making a tape for his, I believe, middle school, uh, like lunch period, and the principal wanted him to make a tape. He's going to put all these great songs that they would play in the park in the '70s. And back then, he didn't have all the great equipment. He had turntables, but it wasn't like as crazy as it was now. So he had to record everything through a boombox. That meant everything had to be loud. And his mother came in the room just as he was queuing up the next song and startled him because she wanted him to turn it down. So as he was queuing it, he rubs the record back and forth because he's startled. Finishes his tape, but goes back and listens to the mistake he made. That mistake was a scratch. Experimented with it. Then a few weeks later, he introduced it to the surprise of everybody. Now everybody's going to go home and start figuring out what the hell Grand Wizard Theodore did. Fast forward a few years, and now it's introduced to the world. There's no dispute that Grand Wizard Theodore was the one who invented the scratch. But Grand Mixer DST, introduced it to the world, and literally, it changed the way we saw music. I know some people don't get it. That's fine. Not for everybody. Not everybody gets jazz. Not everybody gets metal. It's a personal taste. But when I heard that noise, I had to know more. And this song makes me happy. I don't think all of them will be as long as that, but that's okay. Number 3, I've shown this album many times before. This is DJ Shadow, and this is his first full-length album called Introducing. So, fun fact, this album, 100% sampled. Nothing, I really think the only thing on here that was recorded that wasn't on anything else were the words, "It's the money," which was the answer to the question of the track, why does hip-hop suck in '96? So this was a feat of sampling that was unparalleled at the time, and pretty much made exclusively from records found in this record store in his hometown of Davis, California. So it's kind of neat that they have that kind of paid homage to. When I first learned of the album, I was going through a lot of personal stuff, and it was bad, life-changing. So I needed a break, and I went to the record store. Old habits die hard. Walking through, I've got a few CDs in my hand. I'm picking this up, I'm picking that up. I couldn't tell you what I picked up. Walking out, this was Tower Records. The Tower Records that I used to go to had like 3 or 4 listening stations, and each one had 10 CDs in them, 8 CDs, I don't remember. And I saw this. I'm like, well, that's a record store. That's kind of cool. I pick it up. It says DJ Shadow. Never heard of him. But I'm thinking maybe there's some rappers on there that I'll know. Grab the headphones and I hit play. And I stand there listening for about 30 minutes till my friend taps me on the shoulder and says, "Are you ready to go?" Nope. Now I am. And I listened to that album pretty much every day, and it allowed me to kind of remove myself from the stress that I was going under. Allowed me an escape that I very much needed, that I could have tried to get in other avenues, but I didn't. I didn't need to, because I had an instrumental hip-hop masterpiece that allowed me to turn my brain off and get enveloped in amazing music. And this wasn't like he sampled the typical breaks. He really dug deep. So when I hear that album, it makes me happy. for those of you counting along on the home game. Michael Jackson's off the wall. He's left Jackson 5. He's kind of said goodbye to his formidable teen years and stuff like that. And granted, he had some hits outside of the Jackson 5. But this is his first with Quincy Jones and on Epic. Excuse me, as I need a drink. It's soda. So this is Michael Jackson kind of kicking the doors open and saying, "You weren't ready for this." And boy, were we not ready. Thriller, bigger album. In my opinion, better album. This was not this copy. I've gone through probably a dozen copies. And this one needs to be replaced. But this is one of the first albums I bought with my own money. This was one of the first ones that I had to have. So not only does it have a soft spot in my heart because it's been one that I've listened to for so much, but I don't talk about it much, but there's a reason why I have the initials DJ. Because I used to be a DJ. I know, stretch. So I used to do scratching and stuff like that. It wasn't that good, because if I was, I wouldn't be working in front of a computer all day. But I used to do parties and stuff like that. So another lifetime ago. And I used to do a dance. I used to DJ a dance at a campground. It was right outside of Baltimore, Maryland, where I lived in Maryland. And it was like a summer camp. When I say a summer camp, I don't mean like kids, but like people would vacation there for the summer. And so I remember, getting the gig through the company that I worked for, and I go there, and everyone's telling me about this boy. I want to say he was 12, and he loves Michael Jackson. He loves Beat It and things like that. So he loves Billie Jean. Got it. Meet him. He's a wonderful little boy. I mean, just warms your heart. And I made sure that I overemphasized him coming out to Billie Jean. And the entire park, or the entire campground, just ate it up and loved it. So about a half an hour later, everything's going. Everybody's dancing. I'm playing oldies for some of the parents. I'm playing some of the new stuff for the kids, and everybody's getting a chance to dance and have fun. And it was really just a great time. And I go up to him again and I said, "Would you like to hear another Michael Jackson song?" And he said, "Yes." I was like, "Do you know the song Don't Stop Till You Get Enough?" He said, "No." So I actually invited him over to my turntables and set up. And I put it on the headphones and let him hear it. And his eyes just went wide. And he was like, "Oh, I like it. Dude, you got it." So, pomp and circumstance again, bring him out. And this kid just dances. Billie Jean, he's trying to do the moonwalk and stuff like that and stand on his toes. It was really cute. But in this one, he just let loose. And every time I played there, I made sure I had Billie Jean, but I made sure that he got a chance to hear Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. This will always make me happy. Number 5, Spirit. It's kind of a psych album. It's kind of an odd, I won't say it's an oddball, but it's not one that I think a lot of people would associate for making them happy. Except for me, because I'm an oddball. One song, Nature's Way. So hopefully everyone knows the story of Randy California from Spirit. If you don't know, he was, I believe he was a founding member. He was on the first album as well. And unfortunately, he left us too soon. He was actually involved in a surfing accident, and he was saving his son, but he drowned. That's heartbreaking. I mean, absolutely. Just when you think about something like that, it really can tug on your strings. Excuse me. I had my allergies have been killing me today. But you think about the music that he left us, and if you're not familiar with Spirit, go check them out. So, first, Nature's Way is a beautiful song. It really absolutely is. It's very thought provoking, it's very introspective. But another reason why I love it so much is that it reminds me of my uncle. And it was his favorite song by Spirit. And when he passed, we made sure that it was played at his funeral. So I kind of have a double connection with that one, because when I think of this song, I think of Rain to California, and I think of his ultimate sacrifice. But I also think of my uncle, who inspired a lot of this stuff. Very early age, he inspired me to listen to music. He's why I like Hendrix. He's why I like King Crimson. He's why I like Jethro Tull. Excuse me, I am really... There we go, get it out. He's why I like Jethro Tull. He's... I would say Led Zeppelin, but I mean, I think everyone, if you listen to rock music, that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. He turned me on to Black Sabbath, but he also turned me on to like the Dixie Dregs, and he turned me on to Little Feat and Larry Raspberry and the High Steppers. He turned me on to a lot of great stuff. So when I hear that song, I think of my uncle, and it makes me happy. So those were 5. We could have done this for 5 hours, and we'd still be probably in the B's. So I think it's important to not only remember that you have 5, but so many more. And I think this was a great exercise to really find some that maybe rose to the top a little bit more. But I think it's also important for everyone to remember just why we all do this. It's because it invokes emotion. And hopefully they're happy ones. And hopefully my 5 have made you a little happy. If you're not familiar with them, go check them out. Steve, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not familiar with Steve's channel, I will leave a link down below for you to go check him out. He shows everything. He shows CDs, he shows vinyl, he'll show Southern rock, and then punk, and then soul. I mean, he listens to a lot, and he really does absorb it. So it's not just he's regurgitating a couple of facts. He really cares about what he listens to. And that comes across as very genuine, and that makes his channel even that much more enjoyable. Add in a great sense of humor, and you got a good channel. So go check out Steve, please, by all means. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful evening. I promise the next video I shoot will probably be my record haul, because I'm looking at it. I've started cleaning, I've started processing, I've started cataloging, so the minutia is there. But until then, go check out Steve's channel. Everybody else, have a great day. Peace.